No, don't accept any baby oil or any private massages at Mr. Combs. Hey guys, it is the Bad Wolf. As we move towards the holiday seasons, make sure that you guys contact me or email me before doing a consultation if you want to know how long the wait will be, because I will be taking off a couple of weeks, like 2 weeks, November, December, and January. So you may have to wait a couple of weeks. And if you don't mind, then just book it like normal. But if you want, you can kind of ask me, hey, where's the wait at, during the holiday season? Okay. So the holiday season and April, and then a couple of weeks in summer, always going to be the, down woosah time for me. All right. So as some of you guys have also emailed, and you do not have to, yes, of course, the powers that be, the elite, these municipalities and some governmental states have been literally paying to put the sovereign CIT advertisement through Wikipedia underneath my videos. Imagine that. So apparently, YouTube is supposed to be unbiased. They just sell the ad space, and apparently somebody's paying for an ad. So hey, if you guys want to pay for an ad, okay, that's fine. Doesn't bother me. The truth is already out there. So your little feeble attempts to besmirch my reputation, which is defamation of character, okay, it's too late for all that. The information is already out there. People are already learning it. So even if I were to turn off my channel right now, it's still out there. The fire's been lit, and there's too many fires now. So, but I think it's cute that you guys still pay attention to my channel. So with that being said, let's get into it. All right. What are we going to talk about in this video today? And as always, guys, I hope you guys are having a blessed, positive day. We are going to be talking about how you funded your loan. Oh, yeah. Did you know that? Your loans are funded by you with your equity. So shot goes out to living in the private blog spot. All right. And once again, fair use. It is on the internet for anybody to see, read, and review. But let's take a look at what they have to say, which I agree with because I already know this information. It's just nice to sometimes, play the videos and, see what other people have to say about it and how they say it. All right. So let's get, hold on, let me, all right, let's get going.
All debts fall ultimately to the people and to future generations. When banks are too big to fail, they are bailed out by governments, imposing further debt on the people. When governments have a debt crisis, they devise more ways to tax the people. This is because the people are the credit of the nation. When a bank extends credit, for a credit card or a mortgage, it's your credit, not theirs. Banks do not loan their customers deposits or their bank reserves. Instead, they record your credit as a bank liability on the private side of the ledger, which is hidden, and as a bank asset on the public side of the ledger, which is visible. Just like the mafia, the banks have two sets of books. A common misconception, taught in some economic textbooks, is that commercial banks function as intermediaries, lending their customers deposits whenever the bank makes a loan. This deception has been exposed by money reformers advocating sovereign money issuance, supported by ample evidence, and ultimately confirmed by the administrators of the Bank of England in their first quarterly bulletin of 2014. Whenever a bank makes a loan, it simultaneously creates a matching deposit in the borrower's bank account, thereby creating new money. Bank of England, Quarterly Bulletin, 2014. Q1 HTTP. Because of this instant money creation process, it has been said that banks create money out of thin air.
Essentially, what they're doing is some people refer to it as fractional banking because there's only a certain amount of money that's already out in the system. And banks themselves can't print money. So what are they doing? They're creating notes. All right. So when you sign a note, you are charging it because you are living, you are the creditor. By you being just alive as a human being, you are energy. That's equity. You have intrinsic value. You can do work. Your word means you can promise to do something for somebody and they can use that. Okay. Because back in the day, it used to be a man was only as good as his word. If you told Bobby Joe you're going to go over and pick some apples for him, and you told Susie Smith you were going to go over there and, well, do her hair or something, that was good as gold. All right. Your word was gold. Your word is your bond. Now, not too many people have a good word. People don't have bonds. Oh, well, you have bonds, you just don't know about them. Uh, but anyway, let's get back to it. All right. Remember, guys, as always, if you see anybody using any of my information, calling me out of my name, make sure that you use a little button over there and report them for defamation of character, bullying, slander, and whatever else. All right. If you see any crappy ads around, make sure that you dismiss the ad. You don't like it. Click it, tell them you don't like it. Thanks in advance. Now let's get back to it, shall we?
Heir. But bank credit has value in the real economy, so where does that value come from? There is only one thing the loan manager in a commercial bank wants from a customer: their signature. The customer's signature on a promissory note is what creates the credit by providing commercial energy. The bank issues the loan in exchange for the customer's valuable promissory note. The promissory note represents the commercial energy of a living man or woman, which is an asset to the bank and to the market.
So you signed the promissory note. Now, if you look up modern money mechanics, they tell you that banks are not supposed to and cannot by law loan their own assets. So where are they getting the energy, the exchange, the equity is from your signature, your sign of nature. They downplay all the things that you have because they don't want you to know how powerful you are. They convert that in their department called the monetization department or securitization. That note has same as cash value once they put it through their process with your signature on there.
Market. A promissory note is an asset created by a man/woman, and this asset can be sold and traded.
Now, do you understand that every loan you have, including your house, can be looked at as potentially educational information only, fraud, because that's not a loan. If they are in fact, hypothetically, using your promissory note and converting that into cash, you finance the deal. But they're calling it a loan, but they didn't loan you anything because they're, by modern money mechanics, they're not supposed to loan their assets. So where did they get that asset that was just deposited into the account with the same name as you? From you. Let's see what else they have to say.
Traded. What they do when they make loans is to accept promissory notes in exchange for credits. Emphasis added: Modern Money Mechanics, Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. Your promissory note is really a security purchased by the bank, which then has an accounts payable.
But are they really purchased? I would argue that when did they pay me for the note? I think that I signed it over to them somewhat fraudulently. They didn't tell me that's what was going on. I thought if you really understand what a bank is an interchange. It's an intermedium. But I didn't get paid. And if in fact what I heard was true is that they're supposed to cut you in on certain profits throughout this whole exchange, and I'm not getting it. It's like they're mislabeling me or something and not telling me what's all going on in the transaction. Sounds a little fraudulent to me because I didn't get it. I didn't get paid. I didn't get a check. I didn't see any cash.
Payable liability that it pretends is a loan.
See, they're pretending it's a loan. That's fraud. This is actually a swap. And they're supposed to make you aware of that, and they don't. This is why when we take them to court, if you guys want, you can get my mortgage fraud package on blacksite32.com. Gives you a little further insight if you're going to try to go after some of them. But you need to have all the information first. So watch videos like this. Get the pack if you want. It's optional. You can also go and get a securitized audit done on your promissory note from mortgageauditsonline.com. The owner's name is Sean. Tell him the Badwolf sent you and you get a discount. All right. Not going to lie and say I don't get a little something off of that, but got to keep it fair, keep it real, keep it G. Let's keep going.
Loan. You are the creditor. The bank is the debtor.
You are the creditor because you're alive. You can do work. The bank cannot. The bank is a dead entity. Dead entities are debtors. There's no intrinsic value behind cash money anymore after they got us off the gold standard. So that means it's a debtor. All those things are debt notes. It's not positive.
Debtor. As a creditor, you have issued a security. Why does your promissory note have value in the real economy? All money ultimately represents human energy as labor and ideas, backed by nature. In essence, money is energy that circulates as currency, being charged and discharged. Embodied in your lifeblood, your energy has volume, liquidity, velocity, and it flows between banks, making deposits and withdrawals. Your credit originates from your inherent productive capacity, which is only limited by your living energy, your knowledge, and by nature. Therefore, you can promise your credit based on your productive capacity, and other people can have faith in your promissory note, which can be sold on the market. You are the originator of your credit and the living principal creditor. Any medium of exchange that allows the flow of productive energy between people can function as money. There is no need for money to have an intrinsic value because it is simply an energy token. Money is a community invention that enables trade beyond direct barter. Debt-free sovereign money can be issued by a sovereign nation as its prerogative, by a local community, or by open-source cryptographers for all people. The utility of money is maintained when it is created with a limited supply. Historically, the supply of money has been limited by using a bimetallic standard in which the monetary unit is defined as equivalent to a certain amount of gold or silver. Unfortunately, whoever controls such commodity money wields extraordinary economic and political power. The corruption of the medium of exchange by commodification, and by private issuance as interest-bearing debt, has hijacked the credit, commercial energy, of the people. The international bankers have captured the state's sovereign power of money issuance, and upon bankruptcy they have installed a debt money system using legal person name trusts as surety. The birth certificate is a bond issued in the name of an estate trust. When a living man or woman unwittingly acts in joinder to a trust resembling their lawful name, they take on the liabilities of the trust as a trustee, or an accommodation party. In the debt money system, the international bankers have literally become parasitic controllers of the people's credit, having engineered the alleged loan contract. All people are born with energy as a source of productive capacity and are creditors by default. Whereas, all legal person fictions are created without any inherent productive capacity and are debtors by default. Every man or woman who acts in joinder to a legal person name transmits their valuable energy into commerce as a legal incompetent, funding their own debt bondage. Banks can lend at interest as long as people, and governments on behalf of the people, are willing to borrow. When you go into a bank for a loan, you are taking your credit in the form of your promise to pay evidenced by your signature. On the alleged loan contract, your signature transfers your intellectual property to the bank so that the note can be securitized and hypothecated on the market. Your property includes your power of attorney, which is also surrendered, allowing the bank to access and trade on the birth certificate security bond issued when you were born. The birth certificate bond is issued in the name of an estate trust.
Your all capitalized name.
Trust. A living man or woman is a grantor, beneficiary, heir, agent, executor to the name estate trust. But when they surrender their power of attorney, they lose their living standing, becoming liable as a trustee/debtor for the name estate trust.
So once again, just like the courts, they convert you from your real powerful position into a trustee or debtor. So whereas you're supposed to be able to collect and overstand the authority, you now are waived of receiving anything and you understand their authority.
Trust, which is surety for the corporate national debt. The bank can now access the birth certificate security bond. No one signs for the bank because it is a trust agreement, not a contract.
Did you hear that? This is why they always say everything is moving in trust. It's a trust agreement and not a contract, so they don't have to sign.
Contract. You walk in the door as a creditor and walk out as a debtor.
You hear that? That's what they do. Right there, right there. I like it. I like the way you move it right there, right there.
Debtor. Banks do not use generally accepted accounting principles, GAAP, the standard framework of guidelines for financial accounting. Instead, banks use a double entry system that accounts for both creditor assets and debtor liabilities. When we look at both sides of the ledger, we can see that men and women are creditors, not debtors. That's right, we loan the bank our credit, and they multiply it in a number of ways. Banks really do extend credit, but it's your credit that is extended for their benefit.
Oh,
You are shown only the side of the ledger that records you as a debtor, while the side of the ledger that records you as a creditor is hidden. The banker elites who designed the system did not want you to know that. On the bank's asset side of the ledger, publicly visible, showing accounts receivable, you are the debtor and the bank is the creditor, while on the bank's liability side of the ledger, privately hidden, showing accounts payable, you are the creditor and the bank is the debtor. Now you know why all debts fall ultimately to the people you are a creditor, but only when living in your private capacity as a man or woman. Banks are being thought of as intermediaries, but this is not really what's happening. Banks don't lend money. They're in the business of purchasing securities, that's it. Here's the loan contract, the offer letter, and you sign. At law it's very clear, you have issued a security, namely a promissory note, and the bank is going to purchase that. The bank purchases my promissory note, but how do I get my money? The bank will say, well, you'll find it in your account with us. That will be technically correct. If they say we'll transfer it to your account, that's wrong, because no money is transferred at all. Now it also owes you money, and its record of what it owes you is what you think you are getting as money. And that's all it is. That is how the banks create the money supply. They simply restate, slightly incorrectly in accounting terms, what is an accounts payable liability arising from the loan contract having purchased your promissory note. International banking and finance professor, Richard Werner, author of the term quantitative easing, emphasis added.
I've been telling y'all. Why do you think they put those tags underneath my video? See, they only bother the people who tell the truth. When you go along with their plan, they have no problem with you. When you're the salmon going upstream when all the rest are going down, they look at you and say something's wrong with you. They're intrigued by your intelligence to know that going down equals going to the slaughterhouse. But if you're not going to work for them, then it bothers them. But then some of them can have a healthy respect for you because you're showing them where they are weak. So it's a weird place to be in. But nonetheless, they've been watching me and whatever else since I was 19 years old. And all I'm doing is showing the information that's out there. But apparently, it's not like I'm creating it by any means. It's literally in their books, their laws, their stuff. I didn't write any of these books. I'm just smart enough to understand the information and bring it to you guys. Problem is that they already know. See, they have a term for this already, my good people. It's called the Great Awakening. This is what the wealthy and the elite and certain fraternities and organizations will just say and talk about all the time. And it's happening because they know that the system is going to have to course correct. The government's already planning on it. They're to some degree they're actually orchestrating a very change that they almost don't like because they have to get ahead of it before it becomes something that erupts at a critical mass point out of their control. So they're going to control it. This is why you need to sometimes create events, but have the solution already in mind for it. Or you work with subterfuge and distraction. How do I know these things? Because I've learned these things. I've run with some of these people. I'm not lying to you when I say that there's people in my circle that are in various agencies, groups, families, bikers, Italian, Russian, Masons, Illuminati, whatever else. All of these organizations are very real. And I know a ton of them. Some things they are okay with sharing, and some things they would prefer I not share. So out of respect, I don't share everything. So I also agree that if you want some things, then you need to get out there and learn and read, but be cautious with everything that you learn, read, and who you associate with. I've just been very privileged, if you will, to fall into various events, probably the universe, so that I could bring it to you guys. I don't really know how all of it works. Above my pay grade. All I know is I'm doing my part. And I thank you all for your care, your gifts, your prayers, your tips. And all we're going to do is keep bringing them to you guys. So, but I will say this. After I make my next 107 videos, I'm going to be taking a break for a while. I'll still probably be doing consultations, but I got to get back to reading. I have to learn more for me now because this will conclude everything that I know that I can bring to the public. And now that it's out there, it's not going back into the box, but it will require you guys to do your reading and to further your own education and the, how shall we say, the strengthening of the American nation. Because what we do here, like ripples in a pond, will go around the world. And that's up to you guys. I'm not here to do all of that. Can't do it by myself, even if I wanted to. The more people that learn and know this, better everybody's life will be because the system will have to change and it'll have to change in our favor because we will no longer be ignorant to what's really going on. All right, guys, go enjoy the summer, the last little bits of it, fall, whatever you want to call it, the part where it gets cold. Have a great day, guys. Talk to you later.